So Avtar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Welcome to Fragrance of Love, our book reading of the beautiful book Mehera, followed by stories from the Women Mandali, our Eastern and Western Women Mandali. If anybody in the house has shared time with them, you know any stories, we'll in between keep sharing that while we read. So today we are on chapter 5, Post Office Days, page number 63. Late 1924 to end 1926. Near the end of 1924, Baba returned to Mehrabad and he called us, the first women, to join him permanently there. We, my mother, myself, Naja, Big Khorshid and Small Khorshid, and from time to time Daula Masi stayed in the post office building near the railway line. This building was a post office during the First World War when, as I have said, what is now Mehrabad had been a military training camp built by the British. Most of the military buildings there were not built to last, but the post office had been. It was such a strong, well made building with thick walls of big black stones. It had one good sized room, and there were verandas on the south and east sides. There were windows only in the south and north walls, and they had bars on them. The British had built it close to the railway line so that the small bags could easily be taken on and off trains as they passed by. Later, as it was no longer being used as a post office, the railway authorities ordered it to be pulled down. And we felt very sad about that. But I'm told that the stones from the post office walls were used to build Baba's Samadhi. How we loved the post office. It was there that so many things happened for the first time with Baba. I had Baba's darshan there for the first time. I first heard Baba sing there in his lovely voice. Baba had his bath there, and he and his tea and his food there. Baba has slept there, and the villagers of Arangaon first came to know of Baba and have his darshan there too. So that place was sacred for us. These very first days were so special to us. Only three of the men Mandli were with Baba, Gustaji, Padri, and Masaji. And Baba slept with them on the post office veranda on the windowless east side facing the road. It was now the beginning of winter, and the veranda was open to the chilly east breeze. Baba had no bed, just a thin mattress on a mat on the floor, and he would feel so cold at night that he could not sleep. Baba also had no mosquito net, and a snake or scorpion could have easily crawled into his bedding for warmth. As Baba could not sleep, he would be sitting up by 3:30 a.m. with his blanket wrapped around him, and at about 5 a.m. Baba would wake the Mandli, however deeply they were snoring. Baba would take his sandal and throw it at one of them. He especially loved to aim for Masaji, who would wake up, see Baba's sandal, and feel very happy. Masaji would get up, kiss Baba's sandal, and give it back to him. We girls were sleeping very comfortably on our bedding rolls inside the post office room. And here was Baba, the king of kings, sleeping in the open with no proper bedding. Now, in the night at Mehrazad, I think of Baba and remember all these details. How Baba used to give others comfort and go without it himself. How dense we were. Here were we girls feeling so cozy inside while Baba was so uncomfortable outside. But we could not tell Baba to use the room. We girls could not have slept on the veranda, so Baba had to be outside with the Mandli. He went through all that discomfort. Our food was very simple. In the morning, we, including Baba, of course, had only weak tea and we girls got up very early to get it ready. I have never liked getting up early, and when I came to stay with Baba, that was one thing that was difficult for me. We would be up by 5 or earlier to prepare Baba's tea, and by 5:30 we could hear him coming to us, singing in his beautiful voice. We had a little wood fire outside in the veranda for cooking our food, but we made the tea on a kerosene stove inside our room as Baba did not like the taste of wood smoke in his tea. The tea was very weak, made with a little fresh mint, lemongrass, and only a pinch of dried tea leaves. We had sugar in it, but no milk, as well as no chapatis, no butter, and no bread. This weak tea was our only breakfast. I would give Baba his tea on the east veranda, where he would be sitting on a packing case and chatting with the mandli, and Naja or my mother would give the mandli theirs. Baba's tea was served in a big aluminum mug, and and this same mug Baba used for washing his face, having his bath, and for drinking water. This is the image of the post office at Mehrabad as it was when Mehera first had Meher Baba's darshan there. The east veranda without windows is where in 1924 Baba slept while Mehra and the other women stayed inside. Mehrabad Hill is in the background beyond the railway line. Photo taken from model. Can everybody see it? Sorry, 1 second. I'll just. Oh.
Oh, sure.
All right. Because of
Now,
the. Yeah, because of the. Okay, one
from
second.
uh, one,
I'll remove the. Yes, one
yeah, yeah.
second.
Okay,
Yes.
good, good.
Yeah. All right. When we served the tea, it was freshly made and steaming hot. So Baba's aluminum mug would be too hot for him to put to his lips. My mother noticed this and she taught us to put Baba's mug of tea in a half a pail of cold water to cool it to the right temperature before serving it to Baba. We had just the dire necessities, and all our utensils were either brass, aluminum, or enamel. Baba had told us that everything was to be unbreakable, for we would not be able to replace anything. For lunch, we had rice and spiced dal, and in the evening, we had rice and plain dal. A little later on, Baba let us make curry and rice too. As a child, I was very fond of meat and fish. I did not like vegetarian food at all. But Baba made me forget all about meat. I was very young, and with just weak tea without milk as our breakfast, I would be so hungry that I eagerly looked forward to our rice and dal. Naja cooked the rice and dal on the wood fire on the veranda, and I helped her by washing pots and pans and grinding the spices. It is not so easy to grind spices on a stone. Dry coconut and coriander seeds are particularly hard, but I would try to make them very, very fine, especially when Baba allowed us to make curry. For finely grounded spices make the curry very smooth. Baba, who was young then, would get very hungry after having only weak tea at dawn, and then working hard with the mandli. He came for his lunch as early as 9:30 and for his evening dal and rice at 4 or 5 p.m. Naja made the fire and put the dal on early so that it would be ready for Baba. And when he came in, he would call not Naja but Najari so sweetly to her. Najari, what's the time? Is the food ready? And Naja would say, Baba, the dal just ready, but the rice isn't quite. Baba would reply, Never mind, I don't want rice, just dal. For meals, Baba sat on his little rug on the floor near the fireplace on the veranda, and I would serve him his food in his brass plate. We were so new and unaccustomed to staying with a master that we did not have the sense to take our sandals off. We served Baba still wearing them. Now I remember these little things. Baba must have thought that we were very ignorant. But Money says Baba wanted us to be like that. That very clever people might have argued too much and made his work more difficult. With his food, Baba would sometimes ask for bread. Gulmai would bring it for Baba from Ahmednagar when she visited him. Just a small loaf that we would try to keep fresh by wrapping in a cloth and keeping in a saucepan. The bread would become a little stale, but Baba would break it into small pieces and put it in the dal. Baba always broke bread. He never cut it. And seeing Baba eat, we would feel hungry too. We girls were still a little shy with Baba. We peeped at Baba from a distance, but we were not bold enough to talk to him unless he spoke to us. And Baba was strict with us. Baba had told me not to read or write, so I could not even take down the things that he told us. I had brought some of my favorite books with me in a trunk, David Copperfield and others, to share with the girls, but I quickly sent them back to my sister in Ahmednagar, and I never saw those books again. I was also not to touch or speak to any men, and the food that I prepared was given only to Baba or later to the school children, but not to men. Gustaji was the exception to these rules. His storeroom was on one of the post office verandas, and Baba sent him to us for messages. Even Baba himself seldom entered our room. He would take his meals and tea on the post office veranda. And there were many other little orders even in the beginning. For example, we were to wear warm jackets in the evening and, as I have said, keep our heads covered with the white scarves. We could come onto the veranda to cook and in these very early days go to the well to wash our clothes. Otherwise, I was mostly inside our room. We did not roam about outside, and Meherabad Hill in those days was completely out of bounds to all. Baba was very fond of music, and as I have said, his was a very beautiful and sweet voice. Sometimes Baba would sing in the early mornings, and so lovely was his voice that he could sing beautifully even before brushing his teeth and having tea. Early one morning, after we had quickly rolled up our bedding and put it aside, splashed our faces with cold water, and brushed our teeth, we were rushing to make tea for Baba. I was pumping the kerosene stove, which is very noisy, when my mother said, "Listen, you can't hear because of the stove, but Baba is singing. How beautifully he is singing!" As we listened, we could hear Baba's voice coming nearer and nearer. He was singing a new song, not a kavali, but an ordinary song with a pretty tune. At first, we stayed in the middle of the room as we knew Baba would not like us to stare at him from the windows, but we could still see out. Baba's voice came still nearer. And then around the corner of the post office, he came and we saw him. It was just at the crack of dawn, and the dawn light was on his lovely face. So beautiful he looked in his white sadra with his white hair loose. And as he sang, he danced so gracefully. It was just a glimpse for a few seconds, but the sight of Baba dancing and singing in the dawn light is something I shall never forget. As Baba turned towards the corner of the veranda, we rushed to the window to see more, but he had gone from our sight. But we did see him for those few seconds, so slim and beautiful in a white sadra, dancing and singing spontaneously because he was happy. This is so beautifully expressed. I don't know how many of you are there since all cameras are off. Is anybody there at their computers, at their phones? Would love to just for a few moments close eyes and just feel Baba standing on that veranda and singing, and that beautiful beam of the light of dawn on Baba's face. Maybe just for a few moments we could close eyes, and I will read the paragraph again. So you all may just visualize Baba standing there and experience what Mehra has shared with us. It was just at the crack of dawn, and the dawn light was on his lovely face. So beautiful he looked in his white sadra, with his hair loose. And as he sang, he danced so gracefully. It was just a glimpse for a few seconds, but the sight of Baba dancing and singing in the dawn light is something I shall never forget. As Baba turned towards the corner of the veranda, we rushed to the window to see more. But he had gone from our sight. But we did see him for those few seconds. So slim and beautiful in a white sadra, dancing and singing spontaneously because he was happy. Maybe just imagine Baba exactly doing this in our hearts, in our mind's eye right now. So we'll take a little break in the reading. Jai Baba Rosalie. Anybody would like to share any Women Mandali story, any little anecdotes or quotes from money, anything?
No, one thing I immediately think when I was around there, I could feel that beautiful young Baba at that precious time. There was no doubt about it that she had been around him then, because her whole essence kind of held that young, beautiful Baba. Just
Lovely. Thank you, Rosalie. Elizabeth, anyone else who would like to share anything? Any little thing connected to Mehra or the Women Mandi? Meher Chanji, would you like to share anything? Okay, we'll continue the reading then. Baba would often walk on the veranda of the post office singing Kawadi songs, which were his favorite kind, but he never would finish the whole song. Baba would just sing the 3 or 4 lines that he liked best in the song and sing those lines again and again. This particular day, Baba was walking back and forth on the veranda, singing a few lines from a song, while we girls sat peeling the garlic. Baba came up to us and said, "You're listening to my singing? But do you understand the meaning?" It was a Qawwali song written in High Urdu, and I had only learned enough Urdu to talk to our servants when I was a child. "No, Baba, we don't understand it at all," we replied. So he explained it to us. Its meaning in English is, if in the midst of enjoyment, masti, you remember the beloved, then that is love. At that time, you must have your head on his feet. There is no exact word in English for masti. It means being engrossed in something you love doing, seeing a beautiful film, enjoying good food, talking happily to someone. It is that feeling of happiness that does not have to do with the beloved. So the song says, even if when you are enjoying yourself, your head is on his feet, then you are loving him. Having your head on his feet in plain words means remembering the beloved, thinking of him, so that when you are thinking of him, your love is for him at that moment and not for what you are engrossed in. And that is how he should be loved. It is very difficult to do this. When you are eating very tempting food, you think of the food and not of Baba. But if you remember Baba, that is love. Now, before meals at Mehrazad, we say Baba's Jai, and I say to Baba, "Come eat with us." Invite Baba to be with you, to eat with you, and Baba will feel happy that you have thought of him. One morning, Baba was sitting on his carpet on the post office floor. He called me and told me to sit down and then asked me, "Do you know any English songs?" "No, Baba," I said. "I don't know any songs, and I don't even have a good singing voice." "Never mind," Baba replied. "When I ask you to sing, you must sing. Don't you remember any songs that you sang at school?" Baba knew that I did know a song, but I could not think of one at all. With Baba, one would sometimes go blank and forget what we knew. Sorry. With Baba, one would sometimes go blank and forget what one knew. "Try to think of one," Baba said. I thought and thought, and then remembered this one English song that I had sung with the girls at my school. It was called Swanee. Not way down upon the Swanee River, but Swanee. How I love you, how I love you, my dear old Swanee. I felt very shy, but I had to sing it for Baba, and he liked it very much. "Now sing it again," he told me. "I want to learn it." So Baba repeated each line after me, and in a few minutes he had learned the whole song. The next morning we heard Baba loudly singing Swanee, and he sang it beautifully. Baba told us that this was the first English song he had sung, and I was very happy that he had learned it from me. Once Baba even taught us a song, a whole song, not just four lines. It was a song to Krishna. He called us girls to sit in front of him, and he taught us so sweetly, line by line. Naja and I did not have strong singing voices, but both big and small Khorshid did. And so we learned a song from Baba. In those very early days at the post office, Baba would sometimes let things slip, and many of the things that he told us then have since come true. Once at this time, Baba said to us, "One day I will bring out my sword." We looked at Baba feeling very startled and not knowing what he could possibly mean. In his white sadra, with his hair loose and flowing, Baba looked so lovely and gentle. At that time, we had never heard of the Kali Yuga avatar, nor had Baba told us who he is. Now that we know that holy books call this age the Kali Yuga, and that the avatar of this age is always shown riding a white horse with a drawn sword in his hand, we understand what Baba meant. For thousands of years, the avatar has come again and again to tell us how to behave. In different ways, he has told us to practice good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. But we have not listened. Now, as a mother has to bring out a stick for her children who will not listen, so Baba will have to bring out his sword to make his children heed him. This, I feel, will happen. This is sounding so true to the times that we are going through right now. And Baba seems to be in his full force of the Kalki avatar riding that white horse with his sword drawn. Baba was very energetic, and of course he was young and beautiful. During these early days before Baba had the post office enclosed, we would see him walking so fast through the fields back and forth from the post office to the old house in bracket now Dharamshala that the Mandli were repairing. In the evenings at twilight, Baba sat on the floor with my mother and us girls, and we massaged his feet and legs. Baba loved to have music at that time, so often we sang him little songs. Sometimes Baba used to tell us funny stories, and sometimes he would say, "Now you tell me funny stories." We were always studying at school and had no time for such books. The other girls told Baba, "We only know a very short one," and Baba sweetly said, "No matter how short it is, tell me." So they did, and Baba enjoyed the story very much. But the next time Baba asked for a funny story, the girls had to tell him that they did not know any more. "Never mind," Baba said. "Tell me the same one again." So they repeated the story, and Baba enjoyed it as much as he had the first time. Baba was very childlike and enjoyed fun and funny things like a young school boy. Baba liked to hear of funny incidents in people's lives, and he himself was very witty and clever. With the slightest excuse, Baba would find humor in a situation, and he used to amuse everybody. Baba had so much serious work on his mind, and he told us that humor lightened the burden of it. He was so lovely, Baba was. He still is beautiful, but you cannot see him. At the post office one day, in bracket, I think just Baba, myself, and my mother were present, bracket closed. Baba told me, "Sit down." So I sat on the floor in front of him. Of course, he was also sitting on the floor. We had no chairs. "Do you like working and staying here?" he asked me. "Yes, Baba, I love to be here and to be serving you," I replied. "Then from today, you are my orderly," Baba told me. "Orderly?" I said. "Baba, I don't know what orderly means." Baba explained that it meant I was to look after his clothes, his trunk, see to his tea, wash his clothes, and so on. And I was very happy. "Take my things from Gustaji, and you are now to do everything for me," he said. Up until now, Gustaji had been the only one permitted to touch Baba's things. So from that day on, I began attending to Baba. When he wanted to wash his face, I would get the water ready, and then I would pour the water into his hands and give him the soap, and again pour water for Baba to rinse his face and hands and give him the towel. When Baba shaved, I gave him his razor and I made his tea and served him his food. I felt so happy and proud too to be allowed to wash Baba's clothes. I loved washing his clothes. We girls all went together to that well on the roadside, which Baba drank from the very first time he came to Mehrabad in 1923. The road was empty except for the occasional farmer or bullock cart passing by. There was a lovely stone parapet around the well that is not there now, and on that we washed the clothes. With a small bucket, we drew water from the well and washed the stones clean. Then I washed Baba's clothes. And after that, we washed our own. While we did the washing, we could see Baba coming and going through the fields. It was a very beautiful time. Back at the post office, I tied a separate line to dry Baba's clothes, and while they were still a little damp, I folded his sadras in a clean sheet and pressed them with my hands so that when I unfolded them, they looked ironed. And again, I aired them and then put them in Baba's trunk. In December 1924, Baba took us to Bombay on the night train. In those days, there were no direct trains, so we had to change trains at Dhond in the middle of the night. Baba told us to be ready to leave by 5 o'clock, and as it was December and would be chilly on the way, he told us to take our warm things and not to catch colds. We got our things ready, and I had my warm pink knitted coat lying on my packed bedding. My mother loved to crochet and knit, and she had knitted it for me while I was still at school. It was very loose and came almost to my knees, but it was warm, so I always kept it with me. The pink was a pretty color, not too bright, and it had a white band knitted into the border. Baba came into our room with a bundle of light pinkish mauve cloth in his hand, and to our surprise, he threw this bundle onto the big cotton carpet on our floor, still holding one end in his hand. Baba then started to wrap the cloth around his head very, very quickly, looking so beautiful with a slight turn of his head this way, then that way, until his hair was hidden inside a turban. Baba did not want his hair to be seen while we were traveling. Then he asked us, "Are you all packed and ready? We have to leave in 15 minutes. Have you left your warm things out?" Baba saw my pink coat lying on my bedding and picked it up, asking, "Whose is this?" "It's mine, Baba," I said. He put the coat on, and because it was knitted, it fitted him. "This is a nice warm coat," Baba said. "Remember to wear it if you feel cold on the train." Baba looked so lovely in the pink coat and pink turban, but before we got into the Tonga to go to the station, he took the coat off. Now at night, when I think of Baba and remember every little thing that we did with him, I realize that this was the first pink coat that Baba had worn. Baba always wore white or almond colored or very pale blue coats, not pink ones. But at Guru Prasad, Baba wore a pink coat at darshan time. Someone had given it to him and it suited him. So we said, "Baba, why don't you wear it?" But the very first pink coat Baba wore had been knitted for me by my mother. We went by Tonga from the post office to the station. In those days, there were very few people at the train station. It was twilight when we arrived, and Baba told us to sit on a bench as we waited for the train, while he began walking from one end of the platform to the other, looking so beautiful in the Kamli coat, sandals, sadra, and turban. As Baba walked, he began to sing quite loudly at each end of the platform where there were no people, and very softly as he passed us and the others waiting for the train. Baba went back and forth singing loudly and then softly. It was so sweet to hear him, and it shows he loved music and singing, and how much he suffered in keeping silence for all those years. When the train came, the Mandli first rushed to find Baba's compartment. It was a very small one with two seats only, one for Baba and one for Gustadji. Baba told us that we were to sit in the ladies' compartment. Then he got into his tiny compartment and Gustadji pushed his bedding inside. While we were waiting on the bench for the Mandli to find the ladies' compartment, Baba sent Gustadji to call me to him. Oh, what's happened? I thought. Have I made a mistake? What could I have done that has made Baba send for me? I went to Baba's compartment and climbed in. Baba was very sweet. He told me to sit down and said, massage my feet. So I massaged Baba's feet for about half a minute and then he said to me, you know, if you massage my feet every day without fail, I'll make you like Baba Jan. I was so surprised. I had never even thought of such a thing. I had never aspired for such greatness to become like Baba Jan. I only wanted to be with Baba and to love him and to serve him. But what could I say? So I just said, yes, Baba. But Baba knew I would not be able to massage his feet in Bombay without missing a day. He kept silence there for 7 days and fasted for some days too. And at that time, no one could even enter his door. Baba had wanted to see how I would feel about it and what I would say. It was very naughty of Baba to say that, but very sweet too. He had to startle people sometimes with certain things. Yes, Elizabeth, it's so beautiful. Last session we were discussing that how clever is Baba that he never allowed humanity to invent sound and recording before he kept silence so that we would not have a recording of his voice and the true essence of his silence would forever remain with the ones who have never heard him. So yes, if there is
Also, I find it very interesting that movies that talked came out after Baba went silent. It was like 1925, very early 1926. And one of them was this performer, Al Jolson, and he'd swing this. He'd sing Swanee, Swanee, how I love you, how I love you. You know, it's like uh, Baba goes silent, and then we have all these talking movies, which for us, they're silent movies, you know, because Baba's silent in them. And I think it's like the best part of this, you know, scientific progress that we see the avatar. I don't have to see him in a painting. I can see him walking, young Baba, so beautiful, so incredibly beautiful. And I don't have to depend on someone to paint him for me. That's the grace of this, you
true.
know, all of this zooming and whatever. We can see the avatar. I mean, that's, you know, I'm not particularly charmed by it, but I'm totally charmed by Baba on film. So, so glorious, you know.
True. And singing and sharing in his love and glory of all the music and songs and singing that Baba loved. Yes. So we'll continue. On that day, sorry, missed the line. Okay. On that visit to Bombay in December 1924, we stayed at Bharucha building in Dadar, not far from Manzil-e Meem, and it was during this visit that Baba composed the Gujarati Aarti. Baba's room in Bharucha building was at the far end of a hall next to Gustaji's, and near Gustaji's was yet another room. We women, my mother, myself, and Naja, were in the last room along the hallway, and next to our room was the kitchen. During the day, we were with my mother in the kitchen preparing the food, and when Baba left his room, Gustaji showed me how to make Baba's bed and clean his room and bathroom. And I washed Baba's clothes and kept his trunk tidy too. Sometimes in the evening, Baba called my mother and asked girls to sit with him in his room, and sometimes a singer would come to sing for Baba. I remember too that one morning Baba told us that he had no sleep at all that night, but had stayed up to listen to a ghazal singer. That shows how much Baba loved beautiful music. At this time in 1994, Baba was still speaking, but in Bombay, as I have said, he kept silence for about 7 days. I think Baba must have wanted to see how it would feel to be silent. Baba also fasted, taking only weak tea made with a few tea leaves and a little mint. He kept a tea tray for Baba on which, sorry, we kept a tea tray from Baba on which there were a small teapot, a sugar bowl, and a cup, and we were very particular to see that it was kept spotlessly clean. Naja made Baba's tea. I took the tea tray to the door of his room, and Baba took the tray from me at the door. One day, Baba saw a tiny ant somewhere on the tray. Ants are a great problem in Bombay. And this one little ant and must have been hiding underneath the tray and then crawled up to the top when I gave it to Baba. Baba was very upset. There are ants near my tea and the sugar pot. Why are you so careless? He said. And Baba threw the teapot into the bathroom where it shattered into pieces. We quickly made Baba some more tea and took it to him. Though we had done our best, Baba taught us to be still more tidy and clean. One day at Bharucha building, Baba was, as we say in Gujarati, quite out of mood. I did not know why then, and I still do not know. I never asked. It must have had something to do with Baba's work, but he was in a very fiery mood. It was in the morning around 9 or 10 o'clock, and Baba began to get angry with very little, sorry, began to get angry with every little thing we did. Then Baba suddenly said, "Why are you all here? Get out at once." We got very scared. Baba told Naja, "You leave first. Take your trunk and bedding with you. Your father will take you to the train station and you are board the first train and go straight to Pune." "Oh my," poor Naja said, half weeping, "where is my trunk? Where are my clothes?" She began to shove her things into the trunk as fast as she could because she did not want to displease or disobey Baba. As there was no porter, Masaji, her father, had to carry the trunk himself, an unheard of thing in those days when there were many servants. Both of them came downstairs and went out into the street with the trunk on Masaji's head. I felt very sorry for Naja. I did not know my turn was also coming. After Naja left, Baba turned to me and said, "Why are you standing there? Get out at once and don't come here again. I don't want to see you." I do not know what other things Baba said. He was very angry and speaking very loudly. Baba had said at once, so I had no time to pack. I just started walking in. the clothes I was wearing in the house, which had dal stains on them, old sandals, and with a mathabanu on my head. I do not know what I looked like. Baba just stood there, still very angry. So I went quickly down the steps onto the pavement and started walking. I did not know my way around Bombay, but I knew that Naja had gone to the Dadar train station. So I set off in that direction. Then I got the urge to look back to see which was Baba's window and which was our window and how far I had come. I turned and very timidly looked up. Baba was looking out the window. He called out very angrily to me, "Why are you looking up? Don't look up. Go at once." So I started walking again. But I walked very slowly, thinking, what am I to do? Where am I to go? In those days in Bombay, there was hardly a person or a car on the streets. And as I was walking so slowly and wondering what to do, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned, and what do you think? I saw Baba. He was walking very quickly towards me with Gustaji and looking very stern. Baba passed me without saying a word, but I was so happy to see him. Baba was there, and so I did not feel lost anymore. Then Gustaji gestured to me to follow. A little further on, Baba turned into the street of a Parsi follower's house. They had a small shop with their house, and Baba went into the shop. I was still following Baba at a distance, and I felt so relieved to see him go inside. That meant he was not going to the station. So I came to the gate of the house and waited, thinking, when Baba comes out, I'll follow him. I do not know where to go in Bombay, and he hasn't told me not to follow. And when Baba came out, he said to me, "Come on." So Baba and Gustaji walked ahead and I walked behind. I found that while Baba was at that Parsi's place, he had told one of the family to go to the station, which must have been quite near, to call Naja and Masaji back. So they too came back with Masaji still carrying the trunk on the top of his head. Only 1 minute more and Naja would have been on the train back to Pune. How happy and relieved we felt! We had been very frightened when Baba sent us away. We did not want to go home. We wanted only to stay with Baba. So Baba saw that we obeyed his orders, and every time you obey Baba, you please him and make him happy. We never asked Baba why this happened. There is always some reason with Baba. Jai Meher Baba. Would anyone like to share something?
This one person,
Rosalie, could we have your video if possible so we can see you?
oh, yeah, one person put in the chat she was at work, but she was listening. Elizabeth, she's from the
Yes.
US. Yeah. So other people may be at work too. We don't
Yeah.
know. No, so they're not showing. But yeah, yeah.
Uh, any stories with money that you recollect, Rosalie?
Well, one time, this was I always used to, when Mehera would hand out prasad, like on Christmas, on a special day, people would line up and Mehera would give them prasad, like a chocolate candy. And Mani would stand by her side. And I don't know what was said or whatever, but Mehera turned to Mani and just kind of like lightning striking, just not a pleasant look. And Mani totally didn't show it. She was masterful at not showing, disappointment or sad. She just, and it just really struck me that she had such control, and that she really kept that order of Baba to be cheerful. She was like, she gets the Academy Award for the cheerfulness.
Lovely.
But then when Mehera passed, there was a time when the Mandali didn't really want people coming because they were in grief, of course. And so I'm sure Mani wasn't looking, she was better not seen then. Yeah. Yeah. But she was actually very seldom on the porch when Mehera was on the porch with us. And on the weekends, it would, when Mani didn't go to the trust office for work and Erich, they'd talk in Mandali Hall. And it was really wonderful. Erich would say he remembered, and then Mani, Erich, Mani, it was, but then when Mehera was on the porch, it would always be announced, Mehera's on the porch. And I would just, even though that was so wonderful sitting there with Mani and Erich, if Mehera was there, I was gone. I just had that strong connection. Yeah.
How lovely.
Very strong. And one time, Mani noticed that I would not take my eyes off of Mehera. And one time, not on the porch, but she said to me, she says, Rosalie, can't you look away from Mehera? Can't you look away? And I didn't answer her because I was shocked that she said that, but I knew my Rosalie needed to see this pure being. And I also knew that Mehera at times would correct me, or, a few times. So I knew she felt comfortable around me, but I know, and then also if she didn't want her photo taken, Mehera would put her hand up, and it was not there was a force. There was a force with that hand up. It wasn't just like this, it was like, stop. Yeah. So, her strength was so beautiful. It was so natural to her. Yeah. But, Mani was extraordinary about sensitivity, how people were. And one time she told me I was too sensitive to criticism. And I knew I was, but she said, she put her hand out and she says, if someone criticizes you, just take the heart, take the kernel and blow the shaft away. So it was important to hear. No, she was, and then when she would talk about stories about life with Baba and his beauty, nothing like it. So beautiful. Mani, Yeah.
Just sharing a lovely picture while you speak.
Yeah, beautiful. That's at Myrtle Beach, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess it must be the 1952.
Yes. I think maybe it is I don't know, because the picture at Myrtle Beach with the little rabbit in her hand
Yeah.
with Mehera is in the same clothes. So
Yes. It's
maybe
Myrtle Beach, and Phyllis Frederick's there, and then Adele Wilkins at the very left, to our left, and then Phyllis Frederick, who I knew both of them very well, wonderful Baba lovers. And then what is that? That's Go Hair. that go here?
I will
No,
just zoom in
let's
the
say
picture. If you could share with us
no.
who all each one is, that'll be great.
No. Uh, well, this is Charmian. This is Mershida, Ivy Deuce's daughter, Charmian, and this is her friend Sparky. And I can't see that clearly who that is.
Okay, I'll put the arrow so we know who is the one
Yeah,
on
this,
Baba's right,
this is Charmian.
and this is
This is her friend.
Ivy Dews.
No, no. Ivy Deuce is not in the picture. This is
Ah,
Sparky.
okay,
This is Charmian's friend, Sparky. And I can't
okay.
recognize this person here. Uh,
This
you
one.
know, there's Meru to the far right, holding the
This is
rabbit.
Meru. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is Delia from England, Delia
And
Didion.
and what about
I
the
think that's Adele Walken. She met Baba in 1952. And Baba used to call him on his alphabet board Phil Adele. He'd run their names together. And I think this is Mani. That has yeah. Well, it looks more like Ma. Sometimes Mani's in pictures. I've seen her in pictures where it's hard to recognize her. Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, that's a beautiful picture. And
Yes.
I believe that's where this is this is outside the guest house, this special building where Mehera stayed. Mehera and Dr. Goher and Meru and Mani stayed in it was called the guest house. And
Okay.
now, if people come to the center, at times they can stay in the guest house. I've stayed in the room that Mehera stayed in. It was a beautiful room where Mehera could see the sunrise
Wow.
through her window from bed. She could see the sunrise. Yeah.
Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rosalie. So precious.
There's a special film that someone had that there's all sorts of films out there of Baba on the beach with,
Uh-huh.
his letters. And there's a little dialogue. That's the year that Baba put his feet in the water. I think it was 52. It was, 52 before the accident and everything. Yeah. Yeah. That whole, the whole thing about how upset Baba must have been to know that he was allowing Mehera to share the accident. I can't imagine, because he was very careful about everything about Mehera. So careful. Yes. So he didn't like anyone to disagree with her in the ashram. And Mehera didn't take advantage of that. She was the queen, she was the beloved. Yeah. And it's wonderful. It was so wonderful to see, to actually experience someone that is the queen or that female side of God. It's like, it's so natural, you know.
Lovely.
It's so natural that she totally focused on Baba. Totally.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
would,
so much, Rosalie. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
I have to I say I'm forever grateful for having met her and spent time with her. Yeah.
So precious. Yes. So we are trying to now from today making this into an hour session since we have not much of sharing and all, and we'll have the half an hour buffer whenever we have more people. So I will play the Meher Dhun to end the session. And then we will say Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai 3 times and Jai Mehra Meher.
Meher Baba, 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 Meher
I
Everyone
believe
can unmute and say three times. Avtar Meher Baba
Baba
ki
ki
jai.
jai.
जय
Avtar Meher Baba
Baba
बाबा
ki
ki
jai.
की
jai.
जय
Avtar Meher
Meher
मेहर
Baba
Baba
बाबा
ki
की जय
jai.
jai. Mehra Meher.
जय मेरा मेहर
Thank you, Roshni. Thank you.
Anna.
Thank you, Roshani.
Thank you. Thank you, Baba. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a lovely
मेहर
weekend in
बाबा
His love. Tomorrow we have the Seven Realities meditation every Saturday at 5 p.m. IST and 7:30 a.m. EDT. Whoever wishes to join would be great to have you all. Jai Baba.
Check
जय मेहर बाबा